study kids who enroll on your campus and they come from high school with a particular SAT score, and we look at them, or we can look at them and trace their performance on your campus. How many of you know that we do that for free? How many of you have done the study? Okay, so it's called a validity study, and we have two types of validity study. The first of the two happens to be an admissions validity study, so it's right at the beginning. And then we also have a validity study that's evaluating students in coursework on your campus. So we understand who's enrolling on your campus, and then we link them to classes that they have registered for, and we're able to follow and track them for the first, I would say, 3 semesters, because we'll look at students in fall semester and what courses, what grades they got in their courses. Then we'll do that for the same set of students for the spring, and then any of them that decide to go to summer school, Virginia. And so we'll look at students all the way around the spectrum, and then we'll do a report. And the report will come back and we'll tell you, students who went to this particular high school and they graduated with this particular GPA. Yes, sir. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And we don't need a whole lot of students. We'll talk about how many students need to be in the study before we can actually give you that type of information. Because this gets right back into some of the issues that we have with financial aid. This gets back at some of the things that we talk about, progress to what? Graduation, right? So we have a better understanding of who's most likely to do well on the campus. Then you can make better decisions on the front end side, and if you can make better informed decisions, then we will do that from the beginning. How often should you do a validity study? So some of you raise your hand. I did one. So you did that when? So we got one person that did last year. When do you plan to do another? So you're going to do one again this upcoming year. Okay? Anybody else got a clue? We recommend every 3 years. And the reason why we recommend every 3 years, things can change significantly on your campus. Because just think about it. What we're really looking at is how students perform on the campus. We're matching them with faculty that you have on your campus. Right? I was working at Voorhees and hired a new department chairperson from the University of Florida who had a PhD in mathematics. You know the first thing I did as a director of admissions? Everybody else was celebrating. I cringed. You know why I cringed? But I was thinking to myself, are we really going to be able to find somebody to do math at the level that this guy is going to require to do math? How am I going to match his expectation with the kid that's going to enroll on the campus? Then he goes out and he do what? Huh? His registrar speaking. He flunked the ball. Then goes out and recruit his friends. So he's the department chairperson from Florida who goes out and get an associate department chairperson from University of Florida who then goes out and find who? Other ones from what? The same school. So now you got 4 of the same on the campus, which exacerbates the problem. Automatically, my validity study is no longer good or valid because it was based upon the faculty members that was in place at that particular time, teaching students on campus at that particular time. Therefore, it would have required me to do another validity study based upon the new faculty members and how students perform in those classes. Our validity study is actually a free service. It's a free online service. We tell you exactly what we need to have in a data file. You present the data file to us. We allow you to upload the data file. We tell you here's the greatest part about it. You just sit back and wait on it. You don't have to do anything else. Right? No crunching numbers when you give it back. You give the report back, we tell you exactly what the report is saying based upon the sample of students that you gave us. The admissions one and placement validity studies really can help guide some practices that we do on our campus. I was at A&T, if you came in and you had less than 500 in math, we gave you what? A placement test. Because the registrar's office is saying, I don't know which math to put the kid in because they haven't taken out institutional placement test. This validity study will tell you exactly the scores needed for certain courses for students to be successful in the courses. You could use the college entrance examination, is what it's called, if you had a better understanding of what it was telling you. So, here are the data points that we're going to look at if we're talking about just admission. And here are the data points that we can use if you talk about placement. So if I'm accepting the subject test scores, you may not be using them, but you're doing what? Capturing those scores. We can still purge your system and get the scores and match them with the students. We can use some kinds of placement exam stuff that you do on your campus. So some of you administer active placement, right? If you're an active placer campus and many of you have become an active placer placement testing because Compass did what? Went away. So you can't get the placement test through Compass or ACT. Now you have to do what? Active placer, which is a College Board product. We can link all that together and include those data points as a part of your validity study. When you're on campus and you see a trend, and your admission standards are what they are because of the mission of your college, if you're having a conversation on your campus about how do we serve the mission but yet get better at the same time? How do we serve the mission but yet drive retention rates up, but yet improve recruitment rates? I should say retention rates. How do you do that at the same time? What are you using to validate the conversation on your campus? What are you using for your argument that as an admissions director, and even from the registrar's office, you're saying, I see a growing trend in this particular course where students are not getting out of that course? What high schools are they coming from? So you think about preparation also? How do you have that conversation? How are you having that conversation now? With the new SAT, these are a set of what we call college readiness benchmarks. And then we pace back. So the reason why we have an 8th grade SAT kind of benchmark is because we offer now what we call a PSAT 8-9. PSAT 8-9 is administered at the end of the 8th grade year or the beginning of the 9th grade year to help what? Best inform high schools on what courses to put students in. How do you best challenge the students academically? So those of you who've been looking at transcripts for all of your life, for a long time in your life, I know Mike was looking at transcripts for a long time in his life. Students in South Carolina typically get upper end, higher end coursework. What year, Mike?
10th grade year.
So 10th grade, they may have one AP. Then when they get to 11th grade, they may have two. And then they're really loaded in their senior year. So if the student had the ability to do AP in the 10th grade, why are schools not putting students in advanced placement in the 9th grade? They're not doing it because they don't have anything to support why a student really should be in advanced placement in 9th grade. They allow the 9th grade opportunity for them to be in school and their work performance to dictate what coursework they take in the 10th grade year. So essentially, we're not challenging our students from the beginning of high school through high school. So the 8th grade to 9th grade assessment will help schools understand how to best place students in high school. Then we offer, and these 10th grade assessments can be PSAT or SAT, because kids take both PSAT and SAT. These scorings that you see here are what we call vertical alignment scoring. And vertical alignment scoring is if a kid took the PSAT 8-9, so essentially a student could score less than a minimum of 200 in the section for the PSAT 8. Because we moved the scaling back. We moved the scaling back because the content they had been exposed to, and then we pushed it forward. But a student can't maximize a 1600 score on PSAT 8 and 9 because we don't have the upper end questions on the PSAT 8 and 9. And we've done the same thing with the PSAT, PSAT 10, PSAT Eminence QT, and then the SAT goes the gamut of minimum 400 to 1600. So, a lot of you have been on college campuses, you've been receiving test scores. Dr. Kumar's gonna call you, Mike.
Okay.
Dr. Kumar's Mike guy who puts his scores in the system. Many of you have that person on your campus. If you're looking in your databases and you don't see 15 scores from the new test, you need to ask the person who's Dr. Kumar, what happened to the rest of the score? Because some people identify that total score and 2 section scores, and they don't put that in your system, so admissions don't do what? Argue with them, their scores. You guys are going to go to a conference and someone's going to talk about how they're using these test scores and how they're using these test scores on their campus. And you're going to go back to your campus, you're going to try to do some study. When you get back there, you're not going to find these scores in your system because somebody's made a decision that these top scores were the most important scores. In my mind, the most important scores are the detailed report scores under here. This talks about subject areas. This gets at granular information. Bethune-Cookman, you guys got STEM-related fields. You want to know what makes certain students successful in STEM versus some students who come for STEM, they don't do well. The test scores may look the same. The raw total score may be the same score. The section score may actually be the same section score. If you understand how the scores are constructed, then you can also understand I need to dig a little deeper. So for example, math has 3 tests, the section, part of algebra, problem solving, data analysis, and then also have the passport to advanced math. Validity study will tell you which one of the 3 sub-test scores in math is most important to STEM students on your campus.
Advanced math? Advanced math?
I don't know that question. I don't know the answer to that question. I know that if you do the validity study, we're going to tell you which one of the 3 are most important for a student going into STEM on your campus. I worked at A&T. The math faculty called me one day, was like, hey, we got this kid, he's bombing out. What was his test score? So the kid got a 600. Yeah, 600 in math. That indicated initially, the initial indication is the kid should be able to do college calculus for engineers. Because the minimum was a 550. I couldn't give him any more information than that the score was 500 or 600. But what if the kid had really good test scores in problem solving, data analysis, passport to advanced math? He's missing a key component, which is hard algebra. Go back to the kid transcript. The kid took algebra in the 7th grade. And he took algebra 2. If he took algebra in the 7th grade, he would have taken geometry when? 8th grade, he would have took algebra 2 when? 9th grade, then he would have taken what? Some advanced math. Then he probably topped out with taking some kind of calculus course. Right? And he probably went his senior year, AP Stat, right? So it's school counselor, right? She's gonna be able to say exactly. She's walked all the way through, right? And now we're asking this kid to go to Bethune-Cookman in a STEM-related field. Faculty automatically associate that number with what? Ability. This kid probably only need to be retooled in the heart of algebra. Not that he can't be a STEM student. What's the approach to that kid? That's where we're trying to go with this. That no, we're not asking you to take these and make decisions about yes or no, are you going to get in? Everybody talk about bridge programs. To me, I'd bridge this kid. I would bridge a kid who's marginally accepted. It's the whole concept of how we're doing it. The bridge programs before help you do what? Grow enrollment. And then of that, how many actually make it to the day where they turn the tassel? So all the resources, all the money we spent, bringing 30, 100 kids over the summertime, we netted what? By the time we graduated, I'll tell you what the net is off of that. So here's what we did. In our pilot validity study off of the redesign, we went and we worked with 15 four-year campuses. I'll tell you, one was a historic black college and university in the southeast, in Virginia. I'll say in Virginia. So there's many of them in Virginia. You can pick one of them. We used that campus. We also used big flagship state institutions. I'll tell you that in South Carolina, we used one flagship state university in South Carolina. We used one flagship state university in Georgia. And then there's some highly selective schools that belong to Ivies are part of this. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is a wide spectrum of schools that are represented here in the 15. But more importantly, most of our HBCUs are highly concentrated in the Southeast. So it's represented. You guys are represented in the state. So what we did was, right when students started in the fall of 2014, seems like it's been forever. When we made the announcement in the spring of 2014. In the fall of 2014, we asked these campuses to allow their freshman students to take the redesign test. How do we get college students to take the redesign test on a Saturday morning? We gave them an incentive. We paid them. We told them, come take this test. I'm gonna give you $100. Mike, we also told them that if you outscore your old test, we'll give you $50 more. So if I was a freshman in college, I'd been there too, Mike. And I would have been trying to do what? Outscore my other. But we gave them all $150 for taking the test. Okay? But what we wanted to do, we wanted them to all come in and try really hard. We also wanted them to take the test very seriously so that we can have the kind of results that really matter. Okay? Then, these students, we constantly captured data on these students throughout their freshman year. So, fall 2014, spring 2015, and summer 2015, we gathered their grades and then we correlate them with the courses they actually registered for, and then look at the grades that they made in the courses. So when we get to that part, you're going to understand a little more of what we did. So in the study, we had a total of 2,050 students who actually took the examination. And we made certain that we had the best representation that we could from a racial and ethnicity background. Okay? It covered the contents, and so here's are the key findings. So what we were able to determine is the assessment gave us the data that we needed and what we thought we were going to get back. So anytime you redesign a test like that, you're hoping that you're going to be able to get clues on where students need help. You're hoping that we're going to be able to predict what student success rates are going to be. We're hoping, because we don't know. We won't know until someone actually do what? Sit down and take the test. Okay? So everybody, ideally you would want your correlation to be 1-to-1. But Cohen put some definition around when you can say something correlates to one thing or the other. That's not us. That's a scholar who came up with that. So we went with the scholar. So here's what we found. Of the people in that study, high school GPA predicts what? 0.48. So we looked at the people in our study, looked at their GPA, and then looked at what they're ending in or how they perform, high school GPA have a 0.48 correlation. I like high school GPA, right? Because high school GPA, to me, says a story about a student, tells me a little bit about how to work. You know, kids work. If you don't have a 3.5, you did something to get a 3.5. If you got a 2.0, you did the bare minimum to get a 2.0, in my mind. Right? And it is important. If we only took evidence-based reading and writing section score and predict, what we're looking at is a 0.51. Math is if we took only the math section, is a 0.49. Now, the devil's within the details of math. Because here's the question I had when I raised my hand. And I saw that. Students going to college who decide they want to be a history student will take what type of math? They take college algebra. A kid going to Morehouse who wants engineering will start off in what math? Calculus. Degree of difficulty did what? Shift the correlation. Kids who are normally going to college in general, I don't care what your evidence-based reading and writing score or what your major is, they typically start out what English? English 101, unless they're coming with dual joint enrollment or AP examination, right? So English starting point for all students happen to be what? In the same zone, no matter what campus you go to. So that's why you're going to see evidence-based reading and writing has a higher predictor than math, because the two starting points are different. So when we look at the SAT and look at evidence-based reading and writing and math together, only the SAT score and predict a student's performance. They're at 5.53. What will happen if we take high school GPA combined with the SAT scores and all of the section scores? You're going to get a 0.58 correlation of being able to predict a student's ability when they come to your campus. So, this is the first thing that I was really interested in when I saw this. When I saw this, and I looked at this and said, 41 kids out of the 2,000 students that were in that study had an SAT score of 600 to 790. Yeah, above a 2.5. If I'm in the admissions office and I'm trying to make a decision on a kid who has a low SAT score, I want these 41 kids on my campus. How do you determine what that something is? Because I'm not telling you to go out and admit every kid to have a 600 to a 790. What I am saying is, there are some kids that have shown in this study that they have ability to do college level work and do it at a level that's respectable. A validity study will tell you exactly what those students, those kind of students, and how they perform on your campus, and you will be able to get granular information from your campus. Here's what those students need to look like on my campus. Here are the elements that need to be, these are the elements that are most important to the kids coming to my campus. So when you have to take a chance on a student, you take a chance on a student who has a higher ability for your campus. So what if Brandon Bird don't want him? Brandon sends him a denial letter. Lane College might say, you know what? I couldn't get in over there with that guy, but this kid has the elements that's right for my campus. So don't treat all numbers the same. If you have a better understanding of the numbers, then you can treat them most appropriately. And as you can see, as the score moves up, the kids go to college and perform better, which is exactly what we're looking for. We tell you exactly how many kids are in each grouping, so you can kind of really see the volume. So we started at 41, and obviously went all the way up to at some point, we got 764 students in the 1,200 to 1,390 range. But look at how their GPAs at the end of their freshman year. GPAs of the kids that were in our study, we tell you exactly where their GPAs were when they left high school. So, in essence, I could have a kid who had between a 600 and 790 with a GPA of 2.8. Or that kid could have a 3.1 GPA, right? There was some combination of these things here that went along with that test score. Then we took it a step further and looked at the relationship between section scores and how they perform in their freshman year. You guys are quiet. That's scary. Super quiet. So I started thinking about if I was on a college campus, who would I have that conversation with? Right? But my first start was, let me do some stuff in the background. Right? So if I was at Voorhees, I wouldn't say anything to the VP. Not that I want to be disrespectful or anything. If I had this conversation with my VP at Voorhees, it just, right? And so therefore I just would do what? I just had my way, right? So I'd go to him with this kind of conversation. He'd prematurely take it to someone else who would do what? Kill it before I had a chance to do something. Mm-hmm. So what I would do if I was on that campus, and I can't, your campus, you do what you're supposed to do based on your campus. But that campus, and I can say this because I'm a graduate of the school, so go back and tell them I said it. I would have done the validity study, I would have gotten the results back, and then I would have shopped them around with people that I thought had the acumen to understand what I was saying. Eventually, I would have gotten to my VP. But I think my next stop when I got this information was to go to the director of freshman year experience program and let her see what the results were. And let her see what students' abilities can be in certain pockets, right? So that she can help on her side, like in the confines of her domain, she could work in those confines. And eventually I would have worked my way to the Vice President of Academic Affairs saying, here's what I see. What are some of your recommendations? So thinking about how you can move this forward to really shape what your overall kind of effects will be on your campus, I think it's going to be important. And you still have to ask yourself, will anybody really care if you did do it, right? At some point. Math, this is the math section score. So you can actually see these number of students here, and then look at what their GPA was when they in their freshman year. So you got to look at, these are kids who are superstars in math. So you go to these schools, okay, what school you go to into the higher level math. You know, you really got to be ready because their starting points are different. So if we go back all the way back to the evidence-based reading and writing section and look at how students perform, they have a 3.6 GPA versus the math section predicted at 3.2. These are cross-test scores. So cross-test scores analysis in science and history stretches throughout the SAT, the new SAT. So here's an example. In evidence-based reading and writing, we can actually give you a real world story. And I can say that in Texas, the longhorn cattle population is dying. And we got to put it on the protected species list because it's dying out too fast. And we understand that a longhorn cattle, female cattle, will give How many offspring? Brandon, how many calves come from a cow? You from Texas? We can safely assume it would be 1 to 2. It's not going to be like you're going to have a litter of kittens, right? But eventually you get to a point where you have these data points in the story, and we'll ask you some questions about the story. But those data points are setting up a what? Math problem. It's literally a story that is a word problem along the way. Now all of a sudden I got to know math in evidence-based reading and writing. Operational, you think about math, we walk into classroom. And while I'm in my math class, I do what? Think math. I think literature. The world doesn't operate. Someone comes into your office, they come in your office with a problem. And you're thinking through that problem the whole time and trying to figure out, how do I solve that? And sometimes that may require you to do what? Some math. You say how much it's going to cost him. He's adding dollars. But the concept of only thinking about math when you're in math, it goes away because we have these cross-test scores. And this is what this is saying, is talking about how the evidence along the way helps the students with their science. Because people that live in ACT land, they think that we don't have science on the SAT. This is not true. This is how we approach the question. It's not in a section. It's woven through the exam. And as you can see, these things we're looking at those things as predictors also. Because these cross-test scores may be a better predictor for you on your campus. So I want you to think about the SAT and how the SAT performs for your campus. Don't think about how it performs anywhere else. If I work at Wiley, I need to know how the SAT performs at Wiley. So, we're going to do a national validity study. You can do an independent campus validity study. We're going to also do a national validity study. We actually give you $1,500 or something. It's not a whole lot of money, but we're paying for whoever is donating their time. I've seen that before. We only have one Jesuit person, I can't. To be honest with you, I'm sure Voorhees wouldn't mind me telling you on that, but it's true. We're going to examine the relationship between the SAT and then what's important for college outcomes. Like, did the kid really get to sophomore status in your campus? Right? What were the GPAs? You know, that type of stuff is really what you really want to know. If I'm admitting somebody, I really want to know if they persistent stay. And we've been always fighting this kind of battle to grow or improve our graduation rates. And it's not always about improving the SAT score, because you can improve the SAT score, you can improve the averages, and you still got what? A low graduation rate. You can improve your GPA, you can improve your SAT, ACT score, but yet the graduation rate can still be what? It can still be low. I've experienced. I was doing all too good. Now, 5 years later, I go back and look at what Voorhees' graduation rate is. And because I gave them 375 freshmen back in 2011, 12. So we're right at 5 years. And the graduation rate is where it was when I got there. And I got them better students with better test scores. Right? So something happened. something didn't come together. I didn't do this type of something where we studied to a point of really understanding what mattered most about the students that were finishing. This is looking at regions of where we got the students from. You can see the southeast. I told you what the kids are wearing. Virginia, North Carolina, no, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia are the 3 states in the South. Oh, in the South, there's 5. I'm looking at the Southwest. I don't know the other people in the South that we got, but I do know because I work in Virginia, and I work in South Carolina, and I work in Georgia. So, but as you can see, we had a pretty good representation from across the country. And then here the race and ethnicity, and also what was important to me is looking at household income. Look at the number of students that were at 40,000. Right? So it's not like we had a whole lot of these kids in there. We had kids that we definitely serviced. We definitely serviced these people right here. Good representation. Number of kids who coming from households with parents with no high school diploma. No high school diploma. High school diploma, associate degree, right? So educational attainment representation is there also. So this is a service that's ongoing. So if you want to start it now, you could.
But
Right?
you were talking about the national
But the
study.
national validity
That's
study.
what I'm talking about, that you paid for.
That's what I'm talking about. The national validity study will start this fall. Not this fall. This is, what year is this? So fall 17 sound like will be perfect for your campus
Yeah.
because you're doing the revamp right now.
Right. We began.
This year you get enough new SAT scores in your campus to match out. You gotta have at least a core group of 75. So 75 students who enroll in your campus with an SAT score. You know, the thing about the study is that it will, I call those outliers, right? So even in this study, when we had any students that were 14, groupings of students that were 14 or less, in any direction, on the high end side or low end side, we took them out. Okay, so the study is really looking down the core of students and student performance. We're also working on another project, and that project is actually looking at some other indicators. I can't talk a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
But it is, this will work hand in hand in the admissions office. This will really get at some other tangible things that you might want to know about your applicants before you make that decision on the student. We're looking at what neighborhood did you grow up in. So certain students come to college with this grit factor. So we're trying to wrap our brain around in this project, and we piloted the project right now. We're wrapping our head around indicators of where grit level is. Because we also know that there are kids who are just like Teflon. They may not be your smartest kids when they get to your campus, but they work their butt off until they graduate. So what are those indicators? How can we measure those things? But we got to wrap it and package it in a way that is going to be that you can consume. Right? It's for normal people who don't look and talk about this assessment stuff the way we do. Because sometimes it takes us looking at a presentation twice. And we work at the College Board. And I've seen this presentation 3 times. And I'm just getting to a point where I'm kind of like, because I mean, we got some people over here in space. They're out here, they're way out here. And they don't understand how to translate what's in their brain over to like normal language. So they're talking and you're lost in the first 5 minutes. Right? So that's what we're working on right now, is helping to shape it in a way that we can explain it where people can consume it and use it. But that in my long way of answering your question, there will be some other things coming along to help address these social kind of issues that students are dealing with.
Right.
You have students coming with dealing with all types of social kinds of things, whether it's really dealing with your religious belief while you're in college. For some students, that's big. They're paying church them so much, and they got college. They're trying to figure out, do I still want to go, do I don't want to go, and then when they start getting into other stuff, then I'm wrong, and they feel bad, and then they don't go to class, just trickle down effect, right? So there's a lot of other things that we have to understand about the cognitive development of students and how do we get them to progress to graduation. That means I'm over?
No, it means you've got 2 minutes.
Oh, I'll take another question if I only got 2 questions. I got handouts, and I think I left them in my room, but I can bring them back down if you guys will be patient. I'll bring them to the social, so you can say, give me that handout. I'll have it.
Email that?
UNCF has a copy of my presentation. Yes. Surveys are on the table. Be careful and mindful that this session is called.
The power to predict
Yes.
success.
Thank you, because I was going to say something totally different. Power to predict. Okay, I think there's some surveys up there that last session.
Different